Burn Line Podcast. The burn line on a well-crafted cigar is straight and sharp as a razor, much like our wit and wisdom.
Fire the jet. Flow it, send it, whatever you want to do.
Tote it.
You can't punch a Lancero.
And what is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, over the age of 21. You are listening to Burn Line Podcast, coming to you not live from the Hot Box, the smoky back room where deals are struck and fortunes are made, adjacent to the Rocky Patel Cigar Lounge, nestled amongst the complex of rooms that comprise Davidoff Cigars, Westminster, Maryland, USA. One of 13 Davidoff Cigar locations now. I'm your host, Johnny Midas.
I'm El Fumo.
And we smoke cigars.
We do.
We smoke cigars for you. This is a consumer podcast. This is for the cigar smoker, and we don't pull any punches, and we're good looking. So
yeah. We're sacrificing our palates for you guys. It's quite a feat.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing today is pretty cool.
Yes.
Because we're finally doing it. We're finally doing the Lancero edition episode.
Yes.
Because fucking like the Lancero thing. Right?
Yes.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And we're going to talk about...
We don't really talk about it on the show, but everybody else talks about it.
And we are doing that by smoking a Muestra De Saga GFY Lancero. So this is the collection.
Can I say what it stands for?
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's what hashtag
okay.
GFY is.
Damn it, I want to
And I'm going to read there's a whole fucking story inside the cover.
May I actually borrow the other box? I want to read along.
Yes. You certainly may. Why is there two boxes?
Why is there two boxes?
Because Johnny Midas bought two.
Yeah.
And I have smoked everyone except the number 2, which I am smoking on the show.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about what that means.
Should have definitely smoked the number 10.
So there you go. You can have that one.
Yep.
There are 10 unique handcrafted puros in this Lancero collection from Steve Saka, and we are about to smoke them. And this is it, the Lancero show. So everyone that was waiting for Johnny Midas and El Fumo to lend our brilliance to that whole fucking debate, we're about to do it.
Yeah.
And in preparation, I am wearing my flannel. It's finally that weather. And you can finally wear your Burn Line jacket.
Officially licensed, right?
Yes, the officially licensed. That is so fucking sharp looking, dude.
I like it.
You got a lot of hits on that.
Yeah, it's just like
it's because the hat is that you have the hat.
Yeah, the hat.
You got the Davidoff hat.
Yeah, that's the picture.
So
like, they use my hat.
Yeah, like we had several people like it looks like the hat's flying off his head.
Yes.
You know? Anyway, cigar podcast, which means we need to smoke a cigar.
Let's do it.
Here's what we're smoking. There are 10 in the collection. We're going to talk about that. Right? I am smoking the number 2. You're smoking the number 1, which is the NLMNTHA.
A.
Yeah. That is the Lancero that you can buy from Saka as, like, that's the one. That's the production stock.
Production run, yeah.
Right, and we'll talk about about the rest of the shit in this box.
Yeah.
So you're smoking 1, I'm smoking 2, and there's 10.
There's 10.
I've smoked all of them,
yeah,
except this one, which I'm smoking on this episode. So you're going to get raw, real, uncut Johnny Midas
real time,
footage.
yeah.
So if I'm choking to death on it and whatever, sorry, Saka, but hashtag GFY, we're doing it raw. So,
yeah,
looking at the Lancero before we start, I do think that all of these are fucking gorgeous. They're very well put together. There's everything from a Connecticut to a Candela. There's everything from a Connecticut to a Candela Lancero in here, and every shade in between: Rosado, Claro, Maduro, Oscuro.
Everything.
I mean, maybe not the fermentation process, but the colors, right?
50 Shades of Brown.
Absolutely, yes. 50 Shades of Brown. Also known as El Fumo's Wet Dreams.
Oh, God, no. Edit that out. That's terrible.
That's fucking staying.
Oh, God.
But they're gorgeous. They all have this ribbon. You know that I fucking hate foot ribbons. I've even bitched at Fuente about this. Don't forget to take it off. It's made out of plastic, and it will wreck your whole fucking shit. Do not put it in your ashtray. This is your tobacconist tip of the week.
Yeah.
Do not put this shit in here.
That's why I just threw it.
If it gets hot, it smells like ass, and it ruins the whole lounge for everybody. Yeah. Which, we're actually in the lounge at Davida's. This is a live cigar show. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
And we don't want to
studio audience.
Yeah. So we don't want to, that smell will fuck everybody, right?
And it'll ruin the experience.
That is why, even if, I'm not a dumbass, I didn't leave it on my cigar. Yeah, but did you put it in the ashtray?
Yeah.
Right? That's why I'm not a fan. Having said that, they look really good.
Yeah.
They do. I can't lie.
By the way, if you want to look at somebody fuck up a cigar, you remember that Tennessee-Alabama game a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now, and they did a special cigar for it?
Yes, I do.
Hey, I think they're calling about it.
Oh.
We have a first-time caller.
Mr. Abrams, you are live on Burnline Podcast, broadcasting to millions across the United States. What would you like to say to the internet? Hashtag rant over. Let's get fucking smoking. It is time for the official cutting. The official cutting is brought to you by Fat Boy Cigars. The bold and delicious flavors of premium hand-selected tobacco leaves are highlighted in the original Jack's cigar by Fat Boy Cigars. And don't forget to try the Fat Boy Cigars Boots on the Ground series. For every cigar purchase in this series, Fat Boy Cigars will donate $1 to charities, benefiting our frontline heroes. Fat Boy Cigars, welcome to the Fat Boys world.
And there is a pigtail on this.
Pigtail, which means open-ended. And we both are using our Craftsman's Bench, double guillotine. And as always, we remind you to clip that cigar with authority. No limp-wristed cutting allowed on Burnline Podcast. And it's time for the hand job. So just take that freshly clipped head of the cigar, lightly tap it on the back of your knuckle, flesh of your hand. You're knocking any loose tobacco out. There's not a lot on this.
Nope.
Not that I could see it.
It's tightly rolled, so it's a Lancero.
Russian gangster glasses, but yeah.
I can totally see somebody trying to punch or V-cut this.
Oh, God. We talked about that last week. We'll talk about it more. Because this is the Lancero episode.
Fucking weirdos.
But it won't be if we don't fucking smoke them. So it is time for the official lighting. The official lighting is brought to you by 2C Premium Coffee. Keep your day fueled with delicious coffee from 2C Premium Coffee. Featuring select beans from Bali, Kenya, Ethiopia, and around the world, 2C Premium utilizes continual roasting, so you are always getting a truly fresh cup of premium coffee. 2C Premium Coffee, morning made us. I'm lighting up with my ST DuPont gold-plated double flame, flat flame, go fuck yourself lighter. And you've got your single flame rocket launcher, go fuck yourself lighter.
Yeah.
Oh no, my go fuck yourself lighter is out of juice.
You're definitely not leaving orbit with that.
Oh, no, it's not out of juice. I just can't see it with my sunglasses on.
Oh.
That's what I get for wearing glasses inside like a fucking dork.
By the way, this is like my second ever Lancero.
Really?
Because it's not my Vitola.
As always, toasted, not roasted. Yep. Treat that cigar with the love and respect it deserves, and it will return the flavor. When we say that, don't fucking blow it away with that damn 1400 degree butane torch.
Yeah.
You want to hold the cigar far enough away that you're just warming up that cherry. If it's taking,
especially with this guy,
if it's taking less than 30 seconds on a Lancero, if it's taking less than 30 seconds, you fucked up. If it takes less than 45 on a Toro or like a 50 ring gauge, you fucked up.
I want to say this is like 2 cigarettes put together, like the width.
No, sir. This is twice as wide as a cigarette.
Huh. Yeah, I don't have one to compare.
Well, because the volume of a cylinder is the length times the square of the radius of the circle. So, it's like, what's bigger, one 8-inch pizza or 2 4-inch pizzas? Well, the 8-inch pizza is larger by like, what would the math be, 35%?
Yeah.
A lot. Right? Because it's growing this way.
Welcome to the Burnline Math Podcast.
Yeah, so physics is your friend. What I'm getting at is if you're going by volume, it's much, much more than 2 cigarettes.
Yeah.
If you're going by cross-section, it's almost twice as thick as a regular cigarette.
That's what I was going by cross-section. I wasn't talking about volume.
It's a 38.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck a cigarette is. I don't smoke that trash.
Yeah, I don't either. I might have smoked. I think I've smoked a couple when I was like drunk or desperate or something. But
so here's a tip for the kids: don't smoke cigarettes. That'll be good for the algo.
Yeah, that'll be good for the algorithm. We are dead set fucking against smoking cigarettes.
By the way, it's not allowed in most lounges. I want to say 99% of lounges I've been to.
Every single fucking lounge I've been in, it ruins the air. You can't enjoy your cigar.
The only exception we had was, for obvious reasons, Union Gettysburg, because of Bike Week. So a lot of the bikers had their old ladies with them, and they weren't cigar smokers, but they were cigarette smokers. But they were only allowed to smoke in the
now defunct.
Right, the now defunct.
Yeah. No, I went in there to smoke like twice, I think.
Uh-huh.
And it was empty. I was like the only guest.
Cigarette. Oddly enough, a cigarette.
So during Bike Week, they'd be like, "All right, fine."
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's like
you don't want the bikers burning your place down or something
right, exactly.
like that. So,
okay.
All right, so we have got these lit up, and mine is strong. Right.
That's a lot of flavor.
It is a lot of flavor. This is definitely full bodied. I'm gonna go with right now it's a 7.8.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say 8.5 for me. So, quick question,
because that one is stronger.
Yeah. So, question, because you're a Lancero smoker, you've probably smoked them way more than I have. This is probably like my second or third one.
I just smoked a box of 10.
But yeah. But I guess in your opinion, for obvious reasons, this is definitely stronger and more flavorful because of the size of it.
Well,
you're gonna get more full effect. I want to say strength, maybe in your experience.
No. So, all right.
Technically, I should know this. But
yeah, no, let's talk about this. Okay, this is the reason that a lot of cigar apasionadas are snobs about, like, I like Lanceros. Like, all of the serious cigar snobs I know, they're like, Lanceros are the best. Here's why. Most of your flavor comes from the wrapper, and the ratio of wrapper to the rest of the tobacco is significantly higher in Lancero. And so, if you took the same blend and turned it into a Toro, it would not taste as robust and flavorful.
Right.
However, it still depends on the blend. And when you're talking about a Lancero, nobody is blending a Toro and then saying, all right, rip out half those leaves, let's make a Lancero. You have to reblend it, right?
Yeah.
Going from a Corona to a Toro, you don't have to think as much. Going from a Toro to a Gordo, you don't have to think as much. Going from a Corona to a Gordo, you got to think a lot. You got to think more. But everyone is doing the test cigars used to all be Coronas, which is one reason why Coronas were so good.
Yeah.
Because that's the native blend. This is how I want it to taste. The guys in the industry I've talked to have said, no, we're just doing Toros now because we sell so many Toros, right? Which, if cigar prices keep fucking going up, that might change again, right?
Correct.
But
and there's some scuttlebutt around that kind of shit.
We'll talk about that in our cigar gossip of the week.
Yeah.
But so the point is, comparatively, it is true. A Lancero is going to be rich and flavorful and bold because of the ratio of wrapper to other tobaccos. But it still depends on the wrapper leaf and the binder and filler that you choose, just like any other cigar. And so you can blend a Lancero that is fucking mild and weak sauce and whatever, right? So it's a little bit of a false argument to say, oh, they're better. No, they tend to be better for two reasons. The first is they're very difficult to roll, so you've got very skilled people doing them.
Yeah,
number two, you have to be super intentional about it. And then number three, they are like a passion project.
Yeah.
And so typically they are blended for the mature smoker, right? But it's just not fair to say, oh, because of their size, they're going to be, well, yeah, that's true compared to if you took the same leaves and made a bigger cigar. But you don't know what leaves they blended. They could have taken, a fourth priming, Seiko as the wrapper and not aged it and whatever. I mean, there's a fucking Candela in here. It's
right.
Funny, So I just, I'm not putting the myth to rest. That's too strong of a word. But when people talk about it that way, it's just a little misinformed. It still depends on what you choose.
Yeah.
The only thing you can say for sure is if you scaled it up, the flavor would go down because you have more filler.
Right.
That's all you can say about it. But people aren't blending it, to scale up. They're blending it to be Lancero. Right. So if you took a Padron and scaled it down, oh my God, that would knock you on your ass.
Yeah.
Right? So of course they're not going to blend it that way.
Dude, you know what? They should totally do a limited run of just I don't know, 1964 and make it Lancero.
I think Padron should do a limited edition run of box pressed Lanceros.
Yeah,
I think they should.
Yeah.
That would and it would sell, dude. They would sell every one of them.
Do you think you'd die though halfway through the stick?
Yes, I
probably
would die. Yeah. It's all right. So we have got 3/8 of an inch in, half an inch.
You're I'm a little half an inch. It smokes way too quick, by the way, which is expected.
Chief over here.
I'm not even chiefing. It's expected, because of the ring gauge. It's just.
So, let's talk about flavor notes. First of all, we talked about the body is full. This is a full-bodied cigar. The strength is full. Mine, I think, is like a 7.8. Yours is above an 8.
I have 8.5. Yeah.
Yeah. And so let's talk about flavors, and then of course we don't know if it's going to be complex yet. I will tell you the ones that I smoked, not complex, probably mid, more than 1 or 2 flavors, but some are dropping out. There's just not a lot of flavor changing, which it would be hard to do with the limited tobacco you're using in these. But I've got some interesting flavors here. There is oatmeal.
Okay.
There is coffee, and I hate to say this because it's going to sound shitty. Folgers coffee. Oof. But you know what I mean when I talk about the grinds, not the made coffee, but that really light, weak coffee bean. It's like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I hate saying Folgers because it makes it sound like it tastes shitty. That's not what I'm saying.
Folgers is not coffee.
Yeah. Well, it's better than Maxwell House.
Man, we're not getting any sponsors.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored ever. There is a little bit of pepper, and then there is leather dipped in mud. So sometimes we talk about earth, but you know how when it rains around here, this farm country, and you have that rich brown soil everywhere. You know how it smells when it gets rained on?
Yes.
Brown, thick, 8 inches deep mud. That's what it has that flavor.
They got some good farming soil around here.
Oh, yeah. It is green as shit in this area.
Yeah, so with mine, to contrast, mine's was really peppery at the beginning. That dropped off just a bit. A little bit of nutmegish. I'm getting some of that barnyardish field flavor to it. That's what I got so far. A little bit something in the back of the throat. I can't quite get it yet.
Yeah.
But it's getting there. A little bit of bitter. Not like vegetable bitter or kind of like that one test cigar that we had, bitter in the back.
So here's what... Oh, yes. I also have that. There's a little bit of almost harshness.
Yeah.
There's almost harshness.
I'm not sure what it is, but it's there.
Yeah. So those are some initial tasting notes, and then I will go ahead and say 2 things off the bat. One, if you're an experienced smoker, go ahead and pick you up a box. So this retails for $159 here at with taxes was like $165. So getting 10 Saga Lanceros for $16.50 a piece with your taxes and your floor tax in Maryland, this is a fucking deal. In comparison, a Southern Draw, the Southern Draw Lancero?
I don't know the Lancero, but I'm familiar with Southern Draw, yeah.
Okay, so they have I think it might be the Cedrus that they came out in the Lancero.
Okay.
In Maryland, that's like $18, $18.50.
Wow.
Right?
Are they same size? Length?
Yeah.
Damn.
But any Lancero is in the $15 range. Now, in Maryland, we have the floor tax, and then we have the sales tax. So you're coming in with both of those at just over $16 a stick. That is a fucking deal. And, as much of a dick as Steve Saka is, he does make good cigars.
Yes. Not a dick to us, by the way. Not a dick to us.
I don't know. If he wants to come on the show and be a dick to us, I'm for it, man. Come on down. Your reputation precedes you, sir, as does ours. So we'll get along just fine. But I'm not going to lie. I love what he's contributed to the cigar industry. and I've got fucking 3 unicorns in my
3 unicorns.
Yeah.
The meat. I keep forgetting the name. The meat. The red meat was pretty good.
The red meat. Yeah. Love that. I have the ribeye. I have the New York strip. I have 2 of them in my collection.
And then I've smelled you smoke the creme brulee, which is actually pretty good smoke just from the secondhand.
Mm-hmm. It's fucking wicked. Okay, so that's where we're at on flavor. Let's do socials and surprises, and then we will take a break and come on back and do our tobacconist tip of the week. So for socials and surprises, first of all, we are on social media at Burnline Podcast. Instagram, Facebook. I'm trying to get back into X. I haven't done that yet. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I hear that's going to be very friendly.
Yes. You are our marketing plan. So please comment, like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, we are posting video on Spotify. Woo-hoo. And that's important because YouTube has an active crusade.
Yeah.
Meta does as well on Instagram, but YouTube, is owned by Google.
Same thing with Facebook. Yeah.
And they have an active "We are anti-tobacco" campaign.
I think it's going to get worse.
And they're too retarded to distinguish between fine cigars and fucking cigarettes and gas station shit, despite the scientific evidence to the contrary. So, because of that, sometimes you can't comment on our videos on YouTube, or not for a while.
They got to get approved, blah, blah, blah.
And, of course, you probably know about Cigar Authority's issues. Like, I think they're kicked off. I think they're done, or they're about to be done. They're on their second strike with YouTube. And there's some reasons for that besides just the cigar thing. But, that is the anti-free speech political climate that we are hopefully coming out of, but that is real for the industry. Spotify does not do any of that kind of censorship, so we highly support their video platform, and
that's probably going to get us kicked off of YouTube.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want their money somewhere else, then good for you.
It's just weird. Like, why would you sorry to touch on that. Like, why would you get rid of ad revenue?
What I want to know is why you can get on there and fucking talk about all these cannabis products, and they're like, oh, it's fine, But anyway, don't hate me for being triple-digit IQ, unlike the people running that company. But in any case, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and reach out. burnlinepodcast@gmail.com. We will read your email if you want us to on the air, and we will get ideas from that. And who knows, I might send you something special. Sent out Fat Boy Cigar sticker pack this week, so that was cool. And Marcus Bowersox, thanks for joining us on the YouTube tribe. Welcome aboard. We have got a couple of emails, and one of them was, ironically enough, about Lanceros, and I thought, it's time. We talked about the GFY pack coming out on the News of the Week a couple of weeks ago, and so all of those questions about Lanceros will be answered on this episode.
Yeah.
So, why don't we go ahead and take our first break? When we come back, we will do our tobacconist tip of the week. You're listening to Burnline Podcast. Keep that dial locked in.
Please hang up and try again.
And what is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, over the age of 21? Johnny Midas here with my smoke of the week. And this week we are smoking the Oliva Serie V Milanio Año Figurado 2023. There you have it. This Figurado retails for $23.29 here at Davida Cigars in Westminster, Maryland. So swing by and pick you one up. This has some delicious, well-balanced notes that those of you that are fans of the Milanio will be familiar with. So check it out. Johnny Midas, Smoke of the Week. And now your tobacconist tip of the week with Angel Solorio.
And we're back. Are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
Not live.
Not live.
I mean, it's live for me.
Yeah.
It won't be live for everybody else.
Hopefully they didn't touch the dial. Do they even have dials while listening to this?
Keep your dial locked in to the razor-sharp wit of Birdline Podcast.
All right.
Fucking give me the tobacconist tip of the
I
week. What do
am.
you got?
I'm getting there. All right, tobacconist tip of the week. So we're smoking Lanceros. Lancero episode, Lancero tip. Don't smoke your Lanceros outside, especially like a day like today, where it's ice cold and windy. This thing will go out because of the circumference. It's not much surface area, so that bad boy will be poof. So yeah, these are mostly like indoor cigars. It can be an outdoor, but it has to be like a calm day to be able to smoke these.
Yeah, like you can smoke these in the swamp in Louisiana in the summer. It's hot. Might be too humid. The cigar might go out from the moisture. But, the air is perfectly still. And part of that, too, is with the construction, wrapper leaves are not designed to hold the cherry. They will smolder, but they don't leave the charge. And there's just not enough filler in there
To keep it lit.
And so even in a lounge like this, you're going to have to touch it up.
Yeah.
Unless you're very intentional about long, slow draws every 2.5 seconds, it's going to start burning unevenly, go out, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the downside of Lanceros. And that ties into the email I got, which was, how the fuck do I keep this thing lit? And the answer is, right, every 2.5 seconds, long, slow draw. Or just touch it up as you go. Just, don't roast it. You just, I'll demonstrate real quick for camera, but you're just going to keep that flame down there.
Yep.
And just applying enough heat to keep that cherry warm. And you should be fine. You will be able to tell very quickly if it stops holding the cherry.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, tobacconist tip of the week. So, let's read this Muestra De Saga hashtag GFY Lancero collection. So, this is inside the lid of the box. This is super cool. The story. There is a weird, romanticized notion certain cigar smokers have with these long, skinny 7x38 parejos. Possibly it stems from the unique, elegant shape and the fact that it's one of the most difficult formats to roll well, or the concept that so much of the blend is comprised of the most expensive of tobaccos, the wrapper. Whatever the reason, there is no denying the fact that smokers who love Lanceros relentlessly badger us cigar makers to craft more. Personally, I never got it. I find Lanceros a bit simplistic when compared to a Lonsdale format, and most purveyors, he means cigar lounges, people who sell cigars, most cigar sellers hate the damn things as they are often just paperweights on their shelves, so very few ever wish to stock them. Maybe it is this rareness that drives the, quote, Lancero junkie, end quote, question mark. Separate of their and my issues, I am oddly enough the blender of the two most popular Lanceros to have been released in the last 2 decades. And one of the things I have learned over the years is that these customers are always chasing the next great Lancero. So why not give them their, quote, wet dream, end quote, a selection of 10 totally unique Lancero Ligas in just one box? I crafted over 63 different blends while perfecting the Muestra De Saga hashtag NLMTHA. So I chose 9 of the best and 1 awful Candela one, another relentless cigar geek ask. Talk about killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Now I'm just going to come clean. This is a shameless money grab and a way for me to be a bit of an extra cheeky, cuss words, by naming it the hashtag GFI Lancero collection. Enjoy, sorta, Steve Saka. Fucking love it.
That's awesome.
And that's just written inside the lid. Like, it is so in your face. Like, it is what it is.
But I'm glad that's what he said. Like, he's being real about it. Like,
totally. So
he's not wrong.
No, he's not. He's right about a couple of things, right?
Right.
Which is, man, cigar purveyors, cigar shops, they hate Lanceros because they don't sell.
They don't.
Right? And then the whole Lancero geek thing, it's like, it is kind of weird. And he's not wrong. Like, you can get much more complex flavors out of a bigger stick. But it does look fucking cool to smoke on.
I guess. There's like 2 Lanceros that I working behind the counter that have actually flown off the shelf. Is probably, what is it, the My Father? I don't remember the name. And then the Blanco. The Blanco.
The Blanco blend number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a match. Well, so the ones that I see that cannot be kept in stock that always fly off the shelves immediately are the Liga Privadas. Right? So
I didn't see them that often.
The rat tail, the something rat, they're very rare, but when they come out, they're spoken for.
Yeah.
For me personally, the one that I liked the best and didn't finish because it was so strong was the who was the dude that got the nail in his head? Phineas Gage. Yeah.
Really? That's a thing. I didn't even know.
So Liga has a
Storytime.
Lancero Phineas Gage in a box.
Okay.
Each one is in its own red square box, cardboard box.
Yeah.
Inside the box, inside the wooden cigar box, is a cardboard box with Lancero in it, and that is the Drew Estate Liga Privada Phineas Gage.
Okay.
And it is fucking strong.
I need to hear this nail in the head story.
Oh yeah, Phineas Gage was this guy, railroad worker or something, and he got like a fucking 20-penny nail in his head, in his brain.
Fuck.
And he was like one of the first guys to get an X-ray.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
But he survived, and I think it changed his personality, and he turned into like a serial killer or something.
Time to look this up.
I don't know, but smoking it felt like getting a fucking nail in your brain. Like they got the name right.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. I've smoked 2 halfway. It was that strong.
Might have to find one now.
But yeah, so there are 10 Lanceros in this box. The first one is the hashtag NLMTHA. That is the one that you can buy on the shelf by itself. And then you have number 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see the different wrapper colors. There's 2 Connecticut's in here. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end is the hashtag GFY Candela, which I smoke. And he's not wrong. It's truly awful. But it's awful in a way that's like driving an awful car, but you fall in love with it. You know, like you have your like 1984 Caprice wagon, and it's a piece of shit, but you love it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being romantic. I am a cigar guy after all. But big shout out to Saga for just doing this, first of all. And I smoked all of them, and yes, if you don't like Candela, and then we're spoiled because we smoked that thin green line. After you smoke that Candela, you won't smoke another Candela.
No.
You just won't. Shout out to Fat Boys. But these are really good cigars, like most of Saga's stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying this. It's not bad at all.
It's interesting that these are blends he passed up, but that blend is pretty good.
So, just some quick tasting notes. I'm getting like a leathery meat flavor at the moment, like that's overtaking. It's mostly what I'm getting at the moment. A little bit of a cocoa at the end, but like unprocessed cocoa, not like sweet. So, not too bad.
Mine's very strong, and honestly, the overriding taste is like well-aged fermented tobacco. But the subtler notes, you know, there is pepper, and I like the fact that it's not overdone. It is black pepper, but there's a rye bread component in there. You know how rye bread?
Yeah, it's weird.
That there's a rye bread component in there. So this one might end up being a complex blend, which is interesting. None of the other ones that I smoked, I'll peg them as mid.
Okay.
The MLTH, whatever the fuck, the final blend, that one I pegged as like mid to complex.
Okay.
Depending on how like sophisticated your palate is and how much of a douche canoe you want to be.
Yeah, the strength on this actually dropped off. I want to say it's like a 6 at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of these I had the same experience where the first half inch was like fuck, and then
it's literally saying like fuck you, and then it chills.
It's
like
chills
thanks.
out of it. All right, so this is the Lancero episode, and we are talking about vitolas, the Lancero vitola, and some others. So the vitola is the shape and size of the cigar, right? And one of the things about cigars that's cool is it has its own vocabulary. And you can, really kind of be in the club by learning some of this stuff, and that's what we're here for, to help you out. But one of the things that's not cool is cigar taxonomy in general is completely convoluted. So we had the Catalonia, I can't even fucking pronounce it, Maestranza the other week, which, by the way, we beat Cigar Authority to that cigar by a week, so hashtag Burnline Podcast rocks. It was like a Corona or a Petite Corona, and I'm like, just fucking, so there's all of these different vitola names and stuff that are unique and one-offs. And then there's also, last week we talked about the Perfecto that kind of wasn't a Perfecto.
Right.
Really I would call that a Presidente based on the size. It was a 54 by 6 3/4.
Yeah.
I think. To me, a Perfecto is maximum ring gauge 48 and like maximum size probably like 6.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then both of those are, it's the same shape, really. But talking about vitolas, that's the size and shape. We have talked about this on the show before, and we're going to revisit it. So all your vitolas fall into 2 buckets, right? So over here, you have the Parejo. Your Parejo is your standard tube-shaped cigar with a rounded cap. Here's the benefits of a Parejo. Very smooth flavor and smoke delivery.
Yeah.
It's basically the same all the way through.
Yeah.
Your draw will stay the same. If you light it, from lighting it to finishing it, it might loosen up a little bit, as there's less, depending on how long it is.
Yeah, there's no obstructions.
But it's not changing size, etc. And if you're picky about your draw strength, like Johnny Midas is, that's a really good thing. They're easy to cut, and they're just low maintenance, right? They're also typically more affordable. They're the easiest to roll and press. Now, the other bucket is Figurado is the name of the bucket, but it's anything that's not a Parejo is a Figurado. And Figurado just means like figured.
It's figured. It's just shaped.
It's just shaped.
Actually, you keep talking. I got something cool to show you.
Yeah, go grab that.
Yeah.
So, while El Fumo goes and grabs our object lesson for the day, we have got 2 main buckets of vitolas. You have the Parejo and you've got the Figurados. The Lancero that we are smoking is a Parejo, and all of them are Parejos. So that's your like classic tube cigar shape. In the Figurado bucket, you have all kinds of stuff. So probably your most common Figurado is a torpedo, and that's the one where it starts out as a tube and then it tapers down into a point. You also have the Perfecto, which is kind of a torpedo on one end and then sort of tapers down at the foot of the cigar to like a little nipple.
So here's some. All right. So one of the best examples right there.
Oh yeah, here's a great example of a Figurado. So this is the Plasencia Almafuerte, and this is a box-pressed Presidente. So that's exactly what I was just talking about. You have the tapered nipple at the foot, and then like the at the head of the cigar, you have like a torpedo shape. And then this one is also box-pressed. Not showing up great on camera, but that is the Plasencia Almafuerte.
So I just grabbed this because it's the best example of a Parejo.
Yeah. So this is a closed foot.
That is a Prussian King, by the way. Just
Prussian King, yes. This is a Gordo, and as you can see, it's just a tube with a rounded cap, and that's a Parejo. So good contrast there.
By the way, so this is a Toro Parejo. Check it out. That's exactly how they're made, though.
Okay, yes, I have one of these. This is the Yagua, and this is J.C. Newman, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's cool as shit, by the way. I haven't smoked one. I think I'm going to pick one up.
So this is also a Parejo, but you can't really see it on camera, but it's all mashed. And that's because originally in Cuba sometimes they would take these bundles of still wet cigars and band them together, and they would get these grooves in them where they were pressing against each other, and so it ends up each one is kind of a unique shape. That one's kind of ugly.
That's the point.
I have one that's beautifully 5-sided, like it was right in the middle
That one's cool as
of
shit.
that bundle. They're all different.
Yeah.
They're all unique. So it is really cool that way. So anyway, you got these 2 buckets, and the Lancero is the most problematic of the Parejos because it's such a small ring gauge, it's hard to keep lit. That's the bottom line.
And it is hard to roll, even though it's just like that much.
Well, that's what makes it hard.
Yeah.
Hard to roll, right?
So that is
Now,
labor
on the
intensive.
other end, you have another issue, which is Gordos super big ring gauge, like what is it, the Asylum? The
Yeah,
Lunatic
63.
Asylum. Yeah. The problem with that, you have two problems with that. One is getting the airflow to be consistent, because you can easily, the air doesn't have to ignite the whole cigar, and the outsides of it can go out. A Gordo is another vitola that you probably don't want to smoke outdoors in the cold, because the outer layers will not combust, and you'll end up burning all of your filler in, and you'll have, I call it the volcano.
Yeah.
Where, like you tap your ash, the cherry's in here, and your binder and filler's coming up around it, and it's not really combusted. It's not really lit. But everything else in the middle, for Parejos, it burns pretty good.
Yeah.
It's fine. Over here on the Figurado side, though, we mentioned the Torpedo. Now, the Pyramide, you'll hear that occasionally. The distinction between that and a Torpedo, originally there wasn't a distinction. Once molds became more popular, there is a distinction. Technically, a Pyramide has a wider foot that tapers down and then has a torpedo end.
A very sharp torpedo.
Yeah. Technically, that's a Pyramide, so it is different from a Torpedo. If you look at cigars from the 60s or 70s, a Torpedo is called a Pyramide.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how that evolved. And then, of course, you have the Eye of the Shark, which is, I believe, patented by Fuente, which is a Pyramide that is box pressed on the foot only, and then turns into a tube shape as it goes down into that Torpedo.
Yeah.
So it just looks cool. It doesn't do anything for the smoke. And then you have another Figurado is the chisel tip, and that is patented by LFD.
Yeah. It's interesting. I like it, though.
It is interesting. And then you want to talk about the weirdest Figurado of all time?
Yeah, the weirdest Figurado of all time. We don't really get that. I haven't seen it in stores anywhere, but I'm sure you can find it. But the Culebra, which is 3 Lanceros, almost Lanceros, what they do is they twist them and tie them together while they're still malleable.
Yep.
And then, so you got a triple twist. So there's a couple stories behind of why it was made. One of the stories is, every employee gets a Culebra a day because it's like, their allowance of sticks. So they just twist them and they gave it to them. The other one is you're supposed to smoke all 3 at the same time. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, so that's a good point. How do you smoke a Culebra?
Yeah.
If you can find one, which you can find them from time to time online, I would buy one for your collection.
Yeah.
Just because it's cool to have. But yes, it's literally 3 Lanceros twisted together, and they tie them at either end. The ones that are made intentionally for consumption, it's 3 different cigars, and you're supposed to smoke them together to get the effect.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like having 3 Lanceros. We said it's difficult to add nuance and flavor to a Lancero because of the lack of material. Well, now you have 3 different ones, and all of a sudden you have a complex blend. You're supposed to smoke all 3 together.
Yeah.
However, it's not uncommon at all to cut them apart and share them.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that stems from, and it might be apocryphal, but that story that, like, we're going to bundle these together, here's your allowance.
Yeah.
Right? Take that home and smoke it. And so you would break them apart, if you were in that situation. I think they're cool looking. It's definitely a gimmick, but it's a cool gimmick.
Yeah, I don't know who makes them. Maybe we should get some.
We'll get some for the show eventually, right? So that's kind of the Vitola background that we wanted to talk about. And then, so where it gets weird is you have ranges, and then you also, so you have a company that will call something one thing and another company that will call a different size.
Yeah.
And then you also have made-up Vitolas. Right? Eye of the Shark is a made-up Vitola, but it's kind of cool and it's different. But then, like the Maestranza Catalonia, sorry, Romacraft, you just whiffed on the branding on that one.
Yeah.
You should have called that a Corona or Petit Corona. Nobody knows what the fuck, how to pronounce this and what's a Catalonia, right?
Yeah.
But now here's the flip side, is you got, like, what's a Toro? No, I'm asking, what's a Toro?
Probably like what? Like a 5 by 50, 52, something like that.
6 by 52.
6
6 by 50.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Toro. But then you'll have, somebody will have a 6 by 50 and call it a Robusto Extra. You'll have somebody that has a 5.5 by 48 and calls it a Corona Extra.
Yeah.
You'll have somebody that has a 7 by 48 and calls it a Churchill, and then you'll have somebody with a 7 by 48 and calls it a double Corona.
Yeah.
You'll have the like 9-inch by 48 is a Grand Corona.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but what's the fucking difference? Right?
Yeah, it's like, whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter. The rules don't matter. It's just whatever.
What is a 7 by 38?
7 by 38, that is...
We're smoking it right now.
Yeah, a Lancero.
What's a 7 by 36?
Ooh, what is that? A tiny Lancero?
Panatella?
Panatella, I guess.
What's the fucking difference?
Right.
So this
it's
is
two leaves, damn it.
Not even,
Yeah.
right?
What's a cigarette vitola?
Yeah, this is where the taxonomy, it gets a little frustrating. How about a 4 by 50?
Petit Corona? Right?
Petite Robusto.
Petit Robusto.
Because of the 50.
Yeah, okay.
But 4 by 44 is a Petite Corona. And then your standard Robusto size is 5 by 50.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, but what's a 5 by 46? Now it's a Corona. Right?
Yeah. It really doesn't matter.
5.5 by 46 Corona Extra. Right? And so it can be confusing, and it's really what the manufacturer decides to call it. There is a little bit of an issue with so Cubans have their own language around cigars, including like number 2, number 3, number 4. That's where this is what communism does. It's like everything is going to be by the book and boring. You ever seen the brutalist architecture like in China? You see the Chinese communist buildings. It's a fucking cube of concrete. It's fucking disgustingly ugly. And they're like, it's utilitarian. Well, you know what? Life isn't about utility. Life is about everything else. That's why I'm wearing $5,000 sunglasses. You got a straw hat. I got them on Temu. Life is about the ornamentation and the beauty and the luxury and the relaxing, sitting on your back porch with bare feet and a cigar.
Yeah.
Life is not about functionality. Give me a fucking break. We're not tractors. We're humans.
You're right.
Something, just one more thing in a long list of things that Karl Marx totally fucked up. But anyway.
Golly. And cancer.
Yeah. So, here's what I think. If you're if you're learning about cigars, you can always call a cigar what the manufacturer calls it, and you're not wrong, because that's what they're calling it. But here's the big ones you need to remember, right? Long and skinny, Lancero. Not so long and chubbier, you really only have 3 categories to remember most of the time. That's Robusto, which is, 5 by 50. Toro, which is 6 by 50, 6 by 52. And Gordo, which is bigger than that.
Yeah.
So 6 by 60 is a common Gordo, 7 by 60, 6.5 by
Once you get into the
62,
60s, yeah.
something like that. But that's all you really usually have to remember, because not a lot of other vitolas get made anymore. You still have some Coronas, and those are going to be like, 5 by 46, something like that. One of my favorites. I like that nice, short, punchy smoke. But there's not a lot of other vitolas out there, and those are kind of your Parejos. And then for your Figurados, your Torpedo, plenty of those. And most of them will say like Toro Torpedo, right? So remember that shape. And then your Perfecto, like this Plasencia Alma Fuerte, which is, tapering. That, it's like a pyramide with a nipple on the end. So if you can remember those, Robusto, Toro, Gordo, and then pretty much Torpedo and Salomon, or Perfecto. Salomon is kind of a big Perfecto. If you can remember those, you're pretty good. That if you
and
can
your
recognize,
box press, just it.
Yeah, if you can recognize those, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, you don't have to remember.
The next stage would be to get one of those giant ass posters off of Amazon that has all the cigar vitolas on them and memorize them. And even Johnny Midas hasn't done that because it's a waste of fucking time.
Yeah, it really is.
If you want to know what people are talking about, sound informed, at least know what those three are, you know. And then, you know, you can throw in your Churchills. You'll have those occasionally. You know, stuff like that. But those are your main hitters. All right, we are smoking the Muestra De Saga #GFY Lancero collection. You have the NLMTHA, and which is the production Lancero. I am smoking number 2 on this show, and in prep for the show, I smoked all of them except the number 2. It was my last one in the box, and so this is raw, uncut experience on my part. You'll notice I've had to touch it up, partly because I'm talking. You're farther along than I am.
Yeah.
You're talking less. It does burn kind of quick. Yes,
it does. I'm not even chiefing it. It's just, plus I'm trying to keep it lit. I don't want to touch it up.
You're chiefing it a little bit. Some flavor notes. Not much has changed. There's still leather. There's still the mud has just tamed down to kind of a generic barnyard earth. You know how mud is a little barnyardy already. So just some generic barnyard earth. The rye bread flavor is still there a little bit. You know, it's kind of in the background. And then there's just some black pepper on it. Very enjoyable. Strength is an 8 at this point for me. I'd say that, you know, this is definitely a cigar for an experienced cigar smoker. You know, if you're just getting into it, I don't think I smoked any of these where I'm like, yeah, newbie, try that out. You know?
Yeah.
They're strong. Or you could just do what I did, you know, which is smoke something and throw up and realize that you're not there yet. You know? But what have you got for flavor?
I'm honestly at the same from what I described, like that meat flavor, a little bit of barnyard, a little bit of unprocessed cocoa.
So
not a little bit of leather.
So not simple flavor, but not complex. It's not really changing. That's what I got from all the ones I smoked. Yeah. Yep. Agree. So full-bodied for sure.
Yeah.
High in strength. And
strength is still 6.5, 7.
Oh, really? You were at like 8.5.
I know. That's what I said. Remember, it mellowed down for me.
Okay, so now you're at a 7?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. So it's changing strength-wise. That's about it.
Mine has gone up, actually. So mine went from like a 7.8 to an 8. Fairly strong.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is I'm not sensing like a rush of nicotine or anything like that. I think lack of filler is just helping with that.
I think so, yeah. Remember, there's not as much nicotine in this because it's not as much tobacco.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about our love affair with Lanceros. Love affair with Lanceros. I got such a kick out of Saka's story in the front of this box because he's so fucking right.
Yeah.
As a certified cigar aficionado, you know, one of the things about Burnline is we joke around about being snobby and stuff, but we're not. You know, we believe that cigars is a very masculine hobby and everyone should enjoy it. And, you know, putting any kind of barriers in place between people and enjoying this hobby is, you know, shitty, right? We have a little bit of a walled garden. Like, don't bring anything related to cannabis or cigarettes in here. You know, they are not the same. We are not the same. Have some class and dignity. We talk about that in lounge and politeness, but it's not snobby, right? That is being neighborly, right? Showing respect for other people. And this is a hobby that is about men showing respect to each other. Now, that is not anything against women, and there are women in the hobby, but as we all know, most of the lounges I've been in are between 90 and 100% male, right? I buy very few Lanceros, and part of that is availability. When they're there, I do buy them. But I love them, and there's this little, you know, cigar snob mystique about, like, the Lancero and the flavor bursting with flavor and all that, right? And as he points out, like, that's not really real. Anybody can blend and roll a shitty Lancero, you know?
Yeah.
Is it more flavorful than if you scaled it up? Sure, but that doesn't mean you're blending it for that. And I've had a few bland ones, you know?
Yeah.
I had a Connecticut Lancero once, and it was a fucking waste of money.
Oh.
And I had a Candela one in this box from Saga that was actually pretty good. He says it was shitty, and it was shitty because it's Candela. But, it was actually a pretty good cigar for a Candela. But there's something real there. There's something real about, like, this is a cool fucking shape. Kind of like the Presidente.
Yeah.
It's a cool fucking... It looks badass. Especially, you got your Panama hat.
Yeah.
And your Lancero. It's like, oh, fucking slick, dude.
Tell you what, you can't chew this.
No.
If you're
a cigar chewer, do not know. You'll clog that up in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's something we didn't talk about with Lanceros. Like, we talked about the lighting issue. There's the spit issue.
Yeah.
If you get spit in the head that you clipped, you're going to have to clip more off.
Yeah.
You just are. It'll clog up fast. Turn into tar. Get all nasty.
Yeah. And there's not much shoulder on these either because of how tiny they are. So if you're going to clip more, you're kind of fucked.
Yes. And that goes, by the way, with liquid. If you are drinking with a cigar, you may have noticed that you get some of that liquid in the cigar.
Oh, yeah.
Try not to do that with a Lancero. So you tell me about what's your take on Lanceros as Vitola?
I don't care for them personally.
Don't care for them. You're a big ring gauge guy.
Yeah, I'm a big ring gauge guy, and it's like the price point just kind of also, pushes me away from it.
They're expensive, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, meh. Not that they're shit, it's just, it's not for me. I don't like them. I like the bigger stuff.
So for me, I actually have a physiological reason for not being terribly fond of Lanceros and smaller ring gauge, which is I got hit in the face with a hockey stick. Actually broke my teeth off. These two teeth are fake. Snapped them off the gums. And you can see this lump of scar tissue in my lip. What it did was it affected my nerves, and I can't form my lips around a smaller ring gauge very easily. Mm-hmm. I actually have limited mobility because cartilage and scar tissue are not very flexible, right?
Yeah.
So I prefer, to me, I love small ring gauge, but 48 is where it's at. For me, 48 to 50, I'll smoke it all day. 46, yeah, I'll smoke it. 52, yeah, I'll smoke it. Get bigger than that, and I'm kind of meh.
Yeah.
54 is definitely my max. Smaller than that, though, and I have trouble sealing the corners around it, and I'm pulling air in, and it can change the experience. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I do have that mystique thing going on, it's a Lancero, I got to try it. And there is some truth there. It's not all bullshit, because you only have your best rollers doing them because they're fucking hard to do, That's why I if I have a choice in Vitola between a Toro and a Figurado, I will choose the Figurado Vitola of the same cigar because I know that was a level 3 roller, not a level 1 roller that rolled it, and it's probably better constructed. On the other hand, it's harder to roll, so they might have whiffed, and you got to ship one.
Yeah, these are very labor intensive, which also comes into the price point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So that's where Lanceros fall in the Vitola spectrum. Right? It is a Parejo. It is the skinny long one. 7x36 is the official, or 7x38 is the official size.
So if you want a Lancero, go fuck yourself.
If you want a Lancero, # go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
All right, it is time for our second break, so why don't we do that, and when we come back, we will do our cigar gossip of the week.
All right.
Don't go away.
So our gossip of the week / news, mostly news, but since we're talking about Lanceros, Punch Golden Era Lancero. So Punch Golden Era Lancero, they're going to be releasing this. It debuted in 2023, but it's a 7x38. It's called the Orto. It's kind of weird.
So the Golden Era is what, a sub-brand?
Sub-brand, yeah.
Punch. And then it's got its own name for the cigar. So they're re-releasing it.
Yeah, it's who cares? Like, really, who cares?
Everybody cares. That's why it's on the cigar.
Nobody
News of the Week. I'm
cares.
Bernal. Okay, so new cigar Lancero coming out from Punch.
Yep.
I've smoked and liked some Punch stuff. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Most of their stuff is kind of low end, but there's been a few I like.
Whoa, sir. That's an insult. The Crown Head announces the Moose Kick. It's going to be released in Canada only, so...
So it's a play on the Mule Kick.
Yeah, since they got...
Speaking
mooses.
of collecting cigars, the Mule Kick is a limited release every year. So I have those in my collection too. That's something you can pick up if you want to start and focus, like we talked about, on one thing. Crowned Head's Mule Kick.
Yeah, so the Moose Kick was developed by Miguel Chodel, and it is a 5x50 Robusto, Mexican San Andres wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan fillers. So, and you kind of ruined it for me because you said it was a play on that, which was part of it. But Moose Kick is made at the Tacanisca in Nicaragua. That's a freaking mouthful.
And all of Crowned Head's stuff is made by other tabacaleros.
Yeah.
Like, they don't own fields, they don't own factories, but they are damn good at putting together some top-end blends.
So it's a limited release, 300 bundles of 10 cigars. It doesn't really say price points, but I can imagine it's not cheap. Maybe cheap for us. I don't know.
I don't know. So there's no MSRP listed?
No.
Okay.
Are you allowed in Canada? I know I'm not allowed in Canada anymore.
I don't know if I'm allowed in Canada. Why the fuck would I want to go to Canada?
Yeah, probably not anymore.
Sorry to all our Canadian listeners out there. God bless you. We love you. All right, skip that shit. Talk about the gossip from...
All right, yeah. I was going to say that's juicier. Fuck that.
Yeah, TAA gossip.
Oh, man, the TAA gossip. So apparently manufacturers are going to be, like, focusing on 20 and up sticks only because it's, like, and limited releases because...
Yes.
It's a lot less to make, but higher profits because they're making less, but it's more expensive, which I think it's the wrong way to go.
I mean, so we are a strong advocate for the $10 cigar. That is where Burnline is at. Fucking sell $10 cigars. We want to smoke.
Yeah.
We want to enjoy cigars, and we can't if the price point... And then, when you talk about Maryland, for example, with the extra taxes and a lot of other states...
You're talking $22, $23.
$25.
Yeah.
So... The MSRP is 20. You're talking about 25 after you get done with floor tax and sales tax.
Yeah.
That's too much. But here's why they're doing it. So this makes mathematical sense. There is a significant shortage of labor right now.
Yeah.
And if you have limited labor, you have limited output. If that limited output is $10 cigars versus $20 cigars, you're making half as much.
Yeah.
It's that simple. The question is, can the market bear it? And also, will customers forgive you?
Yeah.
Perdomo does not have the best cigars on the shelf, but they have a fan base that is never going away because they've done everything possible to keep their prices low. Although they're at a price point now where I'm doing second glances, like, wait, what else can I get for this price? When it was $9 for a Perdomo, it was like a no-brainer.
They literally became the only company to become the most vertically integrated just for the price point.
Yes, and also they did a little end around Obama's shitty S-chip tax.
Yeah.
They found a way around that, so good for them. Pass the savings on to us, the customer. Speaking of tariffs, Obama was into tariffs too. Tariffs on cigars. That's what S-chip was.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that blatant communism. But, there are companies that have intentionally gone out of their way. Hey, we're making affordable cigars. We like you, the cigar smoker. We like you, not just your money. And we're making stuff that you can afford and smoke daily and whatever. And I think that manufacturers that abandon that, I think there will be long-term repercussions from customers that say, you know what? When times were tough and inflation went up and you were struggling with labor, you said fuck you, and now that times are good, I'm saying fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I was really pleased when, Rocky Patel came out with a gold label, great cigar, smoked it on the show, check it out, episode 60-something, I think, for an affordable price point, because the last few he'd come out with were really good cigars, but they were $20 range.
Yeah.
High teens, low 20s.
Yeah.
Double broadleaf selection, fantastic, expensive.
Yeah.
I think it's a real, and basically what we're talking about is, it's not price fixing. It hasn't risen to that level where the Federal Trade Commission needs to step in. But you literally have a hotel full of manufacturers in Aruba talking to each other like, "Hey, this is the strategy. Yeah, let's all get on board."
No.
And from my perspective, fuck you. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, you're running a business, but if you do not love the customer and have them in the forefront, you don't have legs. You don't have longevity. We know that because we have a day job.
Yeah.
In our day job, we will have increased our revenue 50% year over year. Like, who does that?
Right.
And by the way, that's a 7-figure number.
Yes.
Who does that? We do. Why? Did we come out with a plan and say, here's what we're going to do? We didn't. What we said is, we're going to make customers fucking happy. Mm-hmm. Right? We are going to do what we call outrageous hospitality. Right? And what do you know? You have people like, we're turning people away. I can't serve you. Sorry. I'd like to. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the trucks to get it there. That is the long-term effect of caring about what your customer wants. And I think that manufacturers who are determined to just produce high-end cigars, we're not going to forget. That has legs. We're going to remember, hey, when times were tough, you said fuck you. So you know what? When times are easy, guess what? I'm going to say fuck you back.
Yeah. Yeah. Tips to the hat, like we were just talking about, they have Gran Habanos, like these fully stocked up over there. There's like 6 different Gran Habanos in there, and they're all from $8 to $10 in Maryland.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I appreciate about Tom, and he's the manager here at Davidoff and Westminster, but he knows the people that come in and what they want, and he keeps stuff there. Now, Davidoff does have a little bit of an advantage because they have so many house blends that are fucking fantastic. So we smoked the Lord Baltimore Nicaragua on the show, which is really just a decade-old Plasencia for what, $11?
Yeah.
That's a deal. But he also has $8 and $9 sticks on the shelf, which, in Maryland, in this economy, is unheard of.
Right.
That is a really well-priced
breakfast
cigar.
blend right here, which is excellent. An AJ breakfast blend,
yes,
by the way.
The breakfast bliss.
For $9, an AJ for $9.
And it's a lot of tobacco.
Yeah.
That is a... that one is the Salomon. That's the big perfecto.
Yeah. $9.
For $9, yeah. So there are companies out there that care about us, but like when I heard that gossip, I was like, first of all, I'm not surprised, but second of all, dude, this is just your friendly neighborhood MBA talking to you that has made millions of dollars helping companies be successful. You're going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
You don't know what business is, which is ultimately filling somebody else's need.
Yep.
Now, do you have a need to regularly purchase $20 cigars?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Hell no.
I mean, I've got Johnny Midas's budget because I'm Johnny Midas. You know how many of those that I buy per month as part of my cigar budget?
No.
Less than one. Less than one. Because I enjoy cigars. I smoke them. If you have a $20 cigar, I might try it. But there's so many good ones at $12. Why would I bother? I mean, I can walk right in there and pick out my Hemingway. I can walk right in there and pick up my Chateau Fuente Natural Robusto that I love. It's even the right vitola.
Yeah.
Like, that is like the Hemingway. That cigar has a fucking name. And it's $12. So, what do you think I'm going to buy?
Yeah.
I just think it's a disaster. Now, you have companies like Fuente. They can keep their core line going and only produce fucking special editions and people will snap them up. But they're the fucking Ferrari of cigars. That's like when car companies come out, here's the new limited edition Bugatti. Like all the other ones are $2 million. This one's $4 million. Yeah, you're going to sell everyone that you make because you have the name, right? Fuente's a little bit different though because, I don't know, they're more like GM where they have... stuff regular people can buy, but they also have the fucking Cadillac Escalade, oh my God, thrown on wheels.
Right.
So if they're still producing like the Tahoe, and those are way too expensive now.
They are.
If they're still producing the Traverse, but all their new stuff is a fucking $100,000 electric SUV, that's okay. They can pull that off.
Yeah, I was gonna say the comparison is like, hey, we sell a $120,000 SUV, but you can also afford that $35,000 SUV.
Right.
So.
Right. So, yeah, that is my take on it. That is a fucking strike. That is not the way to go.
It's not cool.
It's going to stick, too. Like, you're going to get a reputation.
And I know retailers are like, we're not even going to buy those. That's dumb. That's not even good for us as well, because they have to buy it, too. And
Well, totally. But you're putting your finger on something very important in the business world. And this is rapidly turning into another one of our smorgasbord of podcasts.
Yeah.
Right, the business podcast. But there is a difference between the customer and the consumer, right? The reason that healthcare in America sucks balls is that the customer is the insurance company. You're the consumer. You don't have the power of pricing negotiation.
No.
It's not a free market. Michael Porter's 5 forces are not met, right? In the cigar industry, the customer is mostly retailers, right? Even if they're online retailers, we're the consumer. We're bitching and moaning, but you know what? The retailers have way more power than we do, but they're in the same fucking boat.
yeah.
Now, you take here in Maryland, and there's other states that have a floor tax. I have to pay taxes when it comes into the state and goes into my store. I haven't even made a profit yet. I haven't sold it. By the way, floor taxes are illegal and should be challenged in court. Somebody needs to do that. Some state attorneys general with balls needs to do that, and it would go away.
Yeah.
But it means that the retailer is taking it up the ass until they can sell it, which is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about a $20 cigar, that's double the taxes I have to pay up front on a $10 cigar. Double, right? Ridiculous. And so all the retailers are like, whoa, I'm not investing this much money in fucking cigars that only rich people can afford, right? So there's been a lot of this pricing out in industry. The car industry is ridiculous. It is off the fucking rails. Where is the $25 family car?
Right.
Like, where is it?
It's not there anymore.
$25,000. I mean, the Corolla, maybe?
Yeah, a lot of your sedans are pushing 25.
Yeah, like your Corolla and your Civic. Yeah, it's 25.
Right.
But, that's it. And then you have some of these micro crossover utility vehicles that are, completely worthless, got no space in them whatsoever. I need a Chevy Traverse for 25 grand. I got a family. I got 2 kids. I need a third row seat vehicle for under 30 grand. Right? Could be done, isn't being done. It is overflowing into the cigar industry, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. But there are some cigar companies that are going to bank on that. They're like, okay, so you guys are going to fuck yourself by doing this. You know what? We're going to enter that space and take it over for you because you abandoned those consumers.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with both industries. Both the car and the cigar industry, they're both fucking packed. The barriers to entry are so high that there's not much competition.
Right. Well, I don't know. With cigars, though, there's a shit ton of makers, and
honestly, it's full. Like, okay, if you wanted to start a cigar company, where are you going to get the field? You're not. You're buying tobacco from somebody else. Unless you want to go into a 10-year project of cultivating land in Costa Rica, you ain't getting a field.
No.
You ain't getting one in Nicaragua. Not for affordable. Factory, where are you going to put one?
Yeah.
Right? You're getting no, they're taking. And then last but not least, labor. It ain't there.
No, they're leaving. They're here.
Yeah, they're
here.
all here.
They're here.
So yeah, that's just it's a little bit of a rant, but that is gossip worth talking about, and hopefully some of these guys come to their senses.
Yeah,
guys and gals, and stop fucking around.
Yeah, bring up that conversation to your retailer.
And while we're on the subject, okay, EP Carrillo, how many fucking first place awards can they get? And yet, they have a price premium because of that, and yet their cigars are like the $15 to $17 range, and some of them are cheaper, but most of them you're looking at $15. That's a Carrillo. Like, that is a damn good cigar. Like, everybody knows this brand, and they're charging a price premium because of it's a really fucking good stick.
Yeah.
And they're still coming in cheaper than some of these new, Rockies and stuff like that, where it's like, man, how do I tell you that you're not competitive?
Yeah.
like I mentioned, the Hemingway, like this is a classic stick that's been around for a long time, and it's delicious. That's why it's lasted since, what was it, 87 when that came out?
Something like that.
84. Yeah. Like here we are 30 fucking years later, 40 years later. You got these Carrillos, 12, 15, 17 bucks. Yeah, man, I'm choosing that over your cigar. It's a better stick.
Yeah.
And then immediately you get into the 20 to 25 range. You're competing with the top end Plasencias and Padrones. So good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, we had that Casa Fuente.
Yeah.
That was like 24, 25. Mm-hmm. Fucking amazing. To me, that was a budget Opus X.
Yeah.
Now, that was limited edition and all that stuff. Limit 2 per customer. But those are some examples of the headwinds you're going to hit in that price range. So, rant over. That's enough.
That's the point, though.
Yeah. All right, so this is the Lancero episode. Like, we finally did it. We smoked the Lancero. We talked about Lanceros. And, of course, this is the Muestra De Saga #GFY Lancero collection. Johnny Midas smoked them all. Smoking the last one here. And even though we're smoking different cigars, we're going to go ahead and do our rankings.
Yeah.
Might as well. And, for... I guess context, both of ours, we would say that it's full body. Mm-hmm. Both of them, we would say it was strong. Mine is going to end up at overall 7.8. Where are you at for your overall?
7.
7?
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not hateful, not terrible.
No, it started off as an 8.5.
Both of these had points where it was above an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They had really strong points. And then in terms of complexity of flavor, mine is definitely a mid. It's not 1 or 2 flavors. It's more than that. I had some flavors drop out. Not really add in so much as evolve. Can't call it complex. And frankly, I don't think I've ever smoked a complex Lancero.
This is just
hard
mid.
to blend. So we're the same on all 3. And these were practice blends for the final product, so they should be somewhat close.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about presentation. The wooden box is delicious. I fucking love it. I love the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust
Looks
seal
like a
on it.
book.
Looks like a book. It opens from the side.
I want to give it a 10 just because it's cool and it's unique.
I had an 8. To me, 10 is like, your Alma Fuerte. Or something like that. But
I just like it's kind of like a Renaissance.
Yeah. We'll split that with a 9.
Okay.
The cigar itself, absolutely beautiful. Construction, I have to go with a 10.
Yeah,
it was
I had
perfect.
no issues.
It is a Lancero. You're gonna have to touch it up.
Lancero.
Absolutely no issues. Now, I am really comfortable with this because I smoked all 10. Every single one, perfect wrapper, perfect burn.
Yeah.
No issues. Good smoke output. Grid just as you would expect from Saka.
Yeah, and
great construction.
Obviously, real quick, because of the presentation and construction, blah blah. Why they're called Lanceros because they look like a fucking lance, and the Renaissance theme. That's where they get the fucking name from.
Okay, yeah, Lancero.
Yeah,
meaning lance.
Lance.
Stab you with it. All right, so price now. I have to couch this in the overall picture of Lanceros. The MSRP is about $15 a stick. Mm-hmm. That's good for a Lancero, and it's good for a Dunbarton cigar. I had an 8 for price. I would like to see it at like 13, but it's still a pretty good price.
Yeah. I guess 8, especially because this is like, you can only get this in this format. You're not buying them individually. Mm-hmm. So I want to say, I guess 8. I don't really have a horse in this race.
I would like to see it more affordable, but for what it is,
right?
It's a good price.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a collectible.
All right, now let's talk about flavor. So the flavor is, like we said, it's mid. Mm-hmm. It's not like delicious, juicy flavor changer. And it's strong, and it's a little harsh in the back of the throat and around the sides of your tongue. It has that odd, not vegetal bitter that we talked about. I did peg it, though. Tell me what you think. eggplant.
Eggplant? No, not for me.
No?
Nope.
Mine is like an egg, not the stem, not
Okay.
the vine, but if you cut it open and lick the white part, where it's like that sort of fleshy, bland bitter.
Okay.
Overall, for flavor, if you're an experienced cigar smoker, these are flavorful cigars.
Yeah.
But I've got it at like a 7.
Agreed. Same, 7.
So good, not great. All right, so let's talk about experience. There is something a little mystical about a Lancero. It looks sharp. You feel cool smoking it. Severe limitations.
Yeah.
The price is a limit, not going to lie. And then it's a Lancero.
Use case
Don't
sucks.
smoke it under a fan, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can't even smoke it under a fan. You definitely can't smoke it outside. You want to be paying attention to it. This is a lounge smoke. It might not even be a back porch smoke. Definitely not in this weather, but you know, even if it was summertime, like you get a little bit of air movement. We get plenty of air currents around here. There's always a nice light breeze. It's just you're going to be fussing with it more than usual. So, you know, I think that as a box, like you could totally gift this to a cigar geek, but
Yeah.
it would be a little odd to be like, hey, congratulations on your promotion. Here's a GFY box.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to here's a really nice single stick.
Or if you're firing somebody and be a nice practical joke, like, oh, here, go fuck yourself.
Now, one thing that is great for is if you have a crew, if you run deep with cigar smokers, buy a box and split it up.
Yeah. That'd
Like
be cool.
that is the best use case for this.
Like,
Get 9 of your close friends or whatever, and just all pick one, and draw straws for who gets the Candela. You know,
Yeah. At
something
150,
like that.
it's not hateful to be able to do that.
No, y'all can split it up. So, because of the use case and everything, I have a 6 for experience. It's better than average, but not much better than average. So, what do you think?
Yeah, 5, 6, because you can't really do anything with it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not doing yard work, walking the dog. Like,
Yeah.
you're not even smoking. You can't even
So-
smoke with it.
Oh, I messed up my math. Let me redo my math real
Whoops.
quick. We said a 7 for flavor. So that brings the total score to 40.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So presentation and construction went a long way with this guy. And I think the only caveat that I would, and it is a 40. I think that is a fair score. The only caveat that I would add to that is if you are not a Lancero smoker, just be cautious, right? Lanceros are not for everybody. They're fussy, and depending, you know, if you like Gordos, you know how with a Gordo the smoke just kind of comes into your mouth?
Yeah.
You don't get that. You have to tell this time to draw.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't even that terrible of a draw either, so I'll
No,
give
it was
you
a
points
great
for that.
draw.
Like, I thought I was going to have to work for it. Like, we've
But
had...
you do,
Yeah.
compared to a Gordo.
Yeah. But, like, we've had tighter Toros than this.
No, like I said, construction was perfect, but it's still a fucking straw. It just is.
Yeah.
You know,
It
what
really is.
So, all right, well, that is it. The Muestra De Saga GFY Lancero Collection. Thanks for joining us on Burnline Podcast, and we will see you again next week.
Woohoo.